Hi, and welcome to Pursuit of Tomorrow. Howard Thurman said, don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. Now, in the spirit of that, I've decided to invite anyone and everyone onto this platform here to help discuss the idea and how we can actively pursue tomorrow as opposed to just kind of passively receiving it. Now, before we get started, I just want to say any support to the channel would mean so much to me. So like, comment and subscribe, and without any more to say, let's get right into the episode. So, welcome back to Pursuit of Tomorrow, and welcome Aaron to Pursuit of Tomorrow.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you coming through.
Yeah,
so, yeah, let's get straight up into it. So,
Yeah.
before we get into the Pursuit of Tomorrow, I'd like to take a quick introspective look into yesterday. So I asked you to bring a couple of props to have some personal meaning to you. So yeah, just wondering what you thought.
And I've got them one like Steve.
Calling one out straight away.
Oh my god. The one thing. Okay.
What?
No shade, Steve, anyway. No shade.
Yeah, no, big love,
I
Steve.
love you,
Sadler. Always.
Okay, so this is my medal for the finals of the UKUP bodybuilding competition. 2018. It's kind of heavy, you know. It's kind of heavy.
That's just
Yeah, imagine. So when I was doing that competition, actually my first one in May, that was in Birmingham.
Okay.
There was this guy, man. This guy had about 3 of those that were gold.
Gosh.
So you can imagine like when he's walking, they're just clanging. It's mad. It was the maddest thing ever. Yeah, so for me, that's kind of a big symbolization of me just kind of going for something.
Yes.
In 2018, I was like, I'm going to do a bodybuilding competition. I didn't have a coach. I didn't really know how to diet properly because you know you have to get your body fat to crazy, like incredibly low percentages, and you have to perfect your posing as well.
Right.
So I was like in May, so I was like 17 years old. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to Birmingham and do this competition. And yeah, I remember I didn't organize anything. So like I remember I took the coach there at like 11 or 12 p.m. Got to Birmingham at like 3 a.m. the next day. Tried to book a hotel on the day. Because remember, I never traveled before. I didn't know how it worked. So trying to book this hotel, I walked into this hotel, and you know they always have like a French receptionist. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
So it's like, he's like, oh, good evening, sir. And I'm like, what's up? Okay, because I'm like 17, I've never had it before. And she's like £300 for like 6 hours. Because I'm literally gonna be there for like 6 hours.
What hotel did you go to?
I don't know, man.
300.
It was more expensive. Yeah.
Gosh, man.
So like, I get this taxi and I go to like the worst part of Birmingham for like the cheapest hotel possible. And I'm walking there, like every single window is smashed.
Gosh.
Like it's like the worst area possible. Didn't end up getting a room, like sat in the reception for like a couple hours. And what happened? Yeah, so I was literally just awake until the competition, which was like 9 p.m. So I'd already been up for like 24 hours at that point.
Yeah.
Went to do the competition. I think I didn't win that one. I didn't place even in the top 10 because there was probably like 30 people that showed up to that.
Right.
So after I done that one, I was like, okay, cool. I'll do another one. Like no matter how many competitions, I'll get to the finals, which is I think it was in October. So I went to another competition in York, I think, or it's either York or Bedford, and only 3 competitors showed up.
Right.
So I remember being backstage and I was like,
Yeah.
we're all gonna get a medal.
Yeah,
I was like, well, I don't want to come third, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, came third. So you know, won by default. So I got the medal in that competition. Then I actually went to the final. And I think there was only 6 people in the final, but like I got there, you know, and I got there by myself. So the next time when I do it, which will be next year, you know, now I have someone that can coach me. Now I know people that can that I can learn posing from. You know, now I kind of have a structure of how I want to get to gold. You know, so yeah, that kind of brings back memories of me just going for it on my own. You know?
No, I like that.
Yeah.
I respect that a lot.
Yeah.
I think another thing that I've seen as kind of a recurring pattern in not just the pursuit of tomorrow, but just in a lot of conversations, is that it's the first step that's the most daunting.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
100%.
I remember,
100%.
you know,
Yeah.
first time I went for a workshop, say, in London. So RADA was holding some workshops, right? And I was like, Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, that's proper.
Yeah, I see it.
When I tell you, man, I got off like one coach stop too late. I don't know why I didn't go on the underground. I literally run from Victoria back towards like Marble Arch. And I was thinking, like, what am I doing? Like, because I was just so disorientated.
Yeah.
And I was like, do I catch an Uber? But now my phone's not working. And it's like, it's all because I was so ill prepared. But I was like, I'm in London now. I'm doing this. It's like when I actually got there, when something happened, you get this sense of, you know what, the journey here was a trek by so many different definitions.
Yeah, 100%.
But I'm here and I'm doing it. So
yeah.
I see what this represents for you, and I like that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, man. What else you got over there?
So
Let me hand this back to you as well.
yeah, thank you. So I've got. Okay, well, I couldn't fit a basketball into my bag,
Right. Okay.
so I brought this.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. But basketball. I was always terrible at football in like primary school, like 2 left feet. I remember, do you know when you would pick people in like, for your teams in like secondary school?
Yeah.
And then there'd always be like that those awkward kids that are left at last. It was me for football all the time because I was so bad. So I remember just not liking it in primary school. And when I was like 12 or 13, I just got a basketball and I was like, let me see if I'm good at this.
Right. Yeah.
And just started playing. And my hand-eye coordination was just so much better than my feet coordination. So, you know, I just kind of excelled at basketball, you know, and that was kind of like my first passion. Something I was actually passionate for, you know. I would just go to the court. You remember the court behind the Leisure Centre? Yeah. I'll go there and just find some drills on YouTube and do these basketball drills and do suicides and do layup drills. I was just you know, so excited by just playing basketball, you know, and just getting better. You know, I'll be at the court most days just throughout all of summer, just practicing.
That's cool.
Yeah, basketball was like, like my first thing I had passion for, and I think I played until like 14 or 15, and then I decided. I had a decision to make whether or not I wanted to put more time into basketball, more time into training.
Right. Yeah.
Because like for me, like I did track and field as a kid. So, but the thing was like I did track and field, but I had really severe asthma.
Okay.
So when I go to the track, there would be a 400-meter warm-up, which is 1 lap of the track, and I would run like 20 meters and be like, and I wouldn't be able to breathe because like it was extremely bad. And I remember I was fat as well. Like I was a fat kid as well.
You were fat?
Yeah. I was chubby, man.
Gosh, man, I probably wouldn't recognize you from childhood.
I had a belly, man. So I would run like 4 meters. So to everyone else, just like, oh, this kid's just fat out of shape. But to me, like I had bad asthma, so
yeah, there's a story behind it.
I would run like 20 meters and be exhausted.
Yeah, of course. And
I'd be walking. And then I like walk and I'd run a little bit. And I could never finish the warm up. Right. So you can imagine as a kid, like I think athletics is probably maybe the first thing I was kind of passionate for, you know, prior to basketball. But you can imagine as a kid, you're trying your best, but you physically can't do better. Like your best isn't good enough.
Right. Yeah.
That makes sense because you've got that handicap. So I remember just always trying, and then it got to a point where, maybe I can get I can do 1/3 of the 400 meters, and then it got to a point where I stopped finishing last. I would finish like in the last bunch.
Okay.
You know, It never got to a point where I would finish first, but you know, I got to the last bunch, maybe the middle bunch of people. And it was progression that way. Like it was bad. Like I remember sometimes I would just be walking, I just couldn't breathe. Like just walking home from school, out of nowhere, I just can't breathe, and I'm on the floor, and I'm just like trying to find my head, just trying to read, that was probably one of like, this experience that kind of harden you in life, that just make you kind of tougher, because like, even though you're trying your absolute best, and even just doing normal things like walking, I mean, a normal walking pace would exhaust me.
Right.
And like my ears were just like tightening up. And it definitely was like one of those things that kind of like hardened me in life in terms of just training and like my attitude towards things, because I always wanted to improve it. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to progress with basketball, because do you know what suicides are in basketball?
What, when you're doing up and down the court?
Yeah. So like you run from one point of the court, run there, run back, run there, run back. And so you do all those, and I remember doing suicides. I was playing for Oxford Hoops, and it was like the sort of thing where if you screw up or if you miss a shot in the layup, everyone does suicides.
Right, yeah.
So it's like if you let the team down, then everyone does suicide. If you stop midway in the suicide, you do more suicide.
Right, yeah.
And the punishment was more and more cardio. And I remember doing it, and I was like, I'm just not built for this, because like I'm running and then I can't breathe.
Yeah.
And then I'm grabbing my inhaler, and I think I brought the wrong one, so I was using that and it wasn't even helping.
Right.
And I was like, man, I just can't do this, man. Like I'm running and I can no longer breathe, and then I let the team down, and then I have to keep doing it, and if I don't do it, I have to do more.
Right, yeah.
And I remember just walking out like, I remember just grabbing my stuff and just walking out like, I can't do this, man. And so that's kind of my story with like athletics and basketball. So yeah, basketball is definitely like a big thing. That's why I made the switch towards gym. I was like, I can take fitness further than basketball.
Right, yeah.
Because I did have that handicap as a kid. And in my early teens as well. So I was like, I can't take this further. There's like a limit to how far I can go with it. In terms of stamina. Yeah. So
I'll tell you what I respect. That you've always had the drive to find out what can push you furthest. And I think that's something that not a lot of people have.
Yeah.
So, let's just put it all down to like athleticism. A lot of people, when they can't excel at one sport, they think that that's them,
Yeah,
So
I see that.
a lot of people take the fact that they aren't in the shape that they want to be in. They'll take the fact that they've got a disadvantage, whether it be asthma or they just happen to have a smaller lung capacity than the rest of the group, and they think, well, you know what, if I can't excel track and field, then I can't do basketball. If I can't do basketball, how am I going to be up in the gym?
Yeah.
But what I've seen you've done now is you've taken that, you're like, look, I'll push myself as hard as I can here, but I haven't pushed myself as hard as I can.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, so no, I respect that.
Yeah, because like, in a sense, I felt like I was built for basketball, but then I also wasn't built for it. Yeah. Like, I excelled it in school at my vertical, even from when I was like 7 or 8, was the best in my school. My long jump was great. My 100 meters was great. So in terms of like just speed and explosiveness, I've always had that. In every single sport. But then the stamina aspect, and then even no matter how hard I was trying, it was like there was still that handicap on it. So it's definitely, you may have a ceiling in certain things, but that doesn't mean that you can't push past that in other things.
Because I think a lot of things are an umbrella, and so there are certain things that may be within the same group that you can excel at further in certain aspects of that. I'm glad you found your thing.
Of course.
Because honestly though, every time I see you in the gym, every time, and you're there like, nah, this is even halfway. It shows that even when you have found your thing and you are excelling at something, that there's still a goal beyond where you currently are. I mean, what is pursuit of tomorrow if not that exact thing right there?
100%.
Less about where you are, because that's the accomplishment, that's where you are. And you take that pride and you wonder, how much further can it go? How much, can I be even more proud of myself when I look in the mirror? Can I be even bigger? Can I be stronger? Can I be faster? And when you start to ask yourself what it takes for you to get there, you know, that's when you start, you know, looking like a big man like
Nah, relax. I was going to tell you viewers, he's younger than me, and he has a full beard. His beard's almost like Rick Ross. You know how jealous I am?
Hey man, we all got our little perks in life, you know.
Yeah, well, I want your perks, man.
What do you mean? I'm trying to get your perks, man. I'm trying to get to the gym on chest day, man. I'm still working on it, man. But,
oh
no,
my god.
But it's true, so like, we've all got our things that we excel in, and
Yeah.
You know, it's like I was saying earlier, sometimes the hardest thing is taking that first step, but in the same way, sometimes even when you do take that first step, you've got that little voice in the back of your head like, am I taking the first step in the right direction?
Yeah,
you know, you don't even know, because obviously, you know, you're pushing yourself really hard in basketball, and in the end, it's like, you know what? Yeah, I'm willing to push myself hard. Yeah, I'm doing really well. Yeah, I'm putting the work in. I'm working hard, but it's just not for me.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
100%.
you're actually the second person to have said so, right? Something about basketball is just, you know, it's a nice little starting ground, because I remember I was in year 4, right? And that's when I picked up basketball.
Oh man, okay, I see.
And, you know, you could tell the difference, right, in the playground, right? Because in my primary school, it's like you had to either be fast, able to dance, or play football.
Oh wow, okay.
Like that's what qualified you as a cool kid. And I remember the only reason, right, people, because I was unnecessarily big, right? So I was the one that never knew his own strength, right? And so, you know, when it came to just wanting to play with others, I found it difficult to kind of measure myself against them, right? And so when it came to being a cool kid, it's like, you isolate yourself all the time. It's like, you know, you find it hard to get along with people, stuff like that. So it's like, where do you fit in the little social structure that is primary school? And the only reason I caught a breath is because Tazai's my cousin. Like, that's the only breath I got. That's the only breath I got.
So, because you play football, isn't it?
Yeah,
oh
literally.
My god,
I remember, you know, it was like, Tazai was just like, nah man, let my cousin come on too. And I was like, hey man. There's you chatting all about how you get picked last.
Yeah, man, I needed your cousin, bro.
At least I got picked second from last, because I was like, don't let him go to the bad team, let him come over.
Oh my days, yeah.
I think I remember that because when it came to basketball, right, I kind of leveraged Tazai's popularity in school, right? What? And I was like, hey man, see if you can suggest we play basketball today, right? And then it was like, there's me trying to break ankles in there, right? And they're like, oh, Ron's actually kind of good, he's actually doing this thing, right? And I was like, yeah man, I'm feeling it. By the time we got to year 6, I'm dancing, right? I'm trying to beat everyone in the 100 meter, it was a primary school playground, probably like 30 meters. Yeah. But I'm there trying to like beat everyone in the race, because for me it's actually less about myself and me trying to prove myself to others.
Oh, okay,
right?
yeah.
But I think, you know, you'll definitely relate. You'll see the largest progression in your growth when you start to do it for yourself. Like when you've actually figured out what your thing is and how you're going to go about it, like you were saying about you going to Brum, like you were able to figure out where you went wrong in terms of hotel, in terms of travel.
I made a million mistakes,
but it's the mistakes that help build you out in a way that other things just can't. You know, there's something about making mistakes in something that you're passionate about. That's like, nah, I'm not going to make that mistake again. I'm going to grow from this one. Yeah.
But in a sense, I mean, you still, the fact that you tried to get everyone to play basketball rather than, you know, you forced yourself to play football, that kind of shows that you wanted to prove yourself in a field that you excelled in, if that makes sense. Which is a better approach.
Yeah, you're right. But it was a con, man. Like it was like, I was like, look, I know I'm not going to be good at football.
Same with me, man.
It was like, if you play basketball, I might be able to show you something. Yeah. But yeah, I just want to say, you know, there's us talking about how we've been able to kind of push ourselves. Have you ever had the chance to just meet someone that like you just respected heavily, and obviously, you said you and me and other bodybuilders, you were learning how to pose, you know, whether it be in bodybuilding or any other field. You know, is there a certain person you like?
Before we actually started recording, you know how I said that Terry Crews was like,
Right.
he was like the person that I looked at, like, that's the ultimate physique. I've never seen anyone that looks like him as a kid. Like, I was like, I want to like him when I get older. I don't know how I'm gonna get there, but I want to like him. So for all my childhood, it was Terry Crews and Arnold. The thing was with Arnold, the fact that he was just so huge, it was like I couldn't even comprehend how to even get halfway there.
Yeah.
But then Terry Crews, he just looks more. You know, you can relate to people that look similar to you.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I want to like Terry Crews, and about I think either a couple months or a year or so into when I already started bodybuilding, I was revising one day and I had like a dumbbell and I was lifting, I was like revising and I was like, okay, well let me search some dumbbell, some shoulder workouts. Search on YouTube, then this guy called Ulysses came up. And I was like, okay, let me watch this video. Ulysses is a mad name. Let me watch this video.
Yeah, that's a Greek. That sounds like a Greek.
Yeah, it's a Greek name. I think it's the name of a Greek typewriter.
Yeah.
So
I recognize the name.
I watched his shoulder video and I was like, whoa, there's someone that looks like this that lives in the UK.
Right.
That's like 30 years old, I think, at the time. And I was like, that's crazy. And then I kept scrolling down. I saw Ulysses and Simeon Panda working out, and I was like, these guys are from the UK. These guys are young and they're like training right now. And I was like, I kind of want to look like them. They became my inspiration, you know, and I'll watch them before I train legs, or just before I go to the gym, I just be watching their videos and on repeat, just watching everything that they do. And so fast forward to 2018, when I went to Birmingham, the competition was actually held at a fitness expo. So at the expo, you have brands like Gymshark and My Protein. You'd have all the fitness influencers, and you'd have, you know, famous bodybuilders as well. So I remember like when I walked into NEC, it's like the size of an airport. It's huge, and it's just like one huge area. Like you walk in, because I got let in early because I was competing.
Right. Yeah.
You walk in, and I like walk past some booths, and then I turn right, and then it opens up even more. And then I see the stage all the way at the end that I'm going to be posing on. And I was like, wow, this is real, like I'm here now.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. So I made my way towards the stage, and I just see these dreadlocks. I saw these big arms, and I was like, it's like Ulysses. And he's like 10, 15 meters away, and I'm just walking. And it's one of those things where you're walking and you don't think about what you're gonna say. You're just like, I need to go there. And I just kept walking. And then Mike Rashid walks out as well, because he just enters the venue, and I'm like, this isn't Mike. Okay. Oh. Then I just said hello. And then some guy that's working there, he's like, oh, Mike, you need to go to your booth, and your booth is over here. And then Ulysses, like, he fist bumps Mike, and then he's like, I need to go over to this place. And then I'm just left with Mike, and then Mike's like, oh, okay. He was like, oh, can you walk with me? I've got to go do something. So I was like, I've been watching this guy for years, you know, and like now I'm just walking through this venue with Mike.
Right.
And there's people taking pictures and videos, and I'm like, I don't know him.
Yeah.
The photo shows it. You know, so I'm walking with him, and the guys that I work with, I was telling him about things he's got to do. And I remember just asking him about what I should kind of do with my life, which is like a very big question to ask, you know, a stranger, because I didn't know what I should do first, what should I prioritize, and I remember just having a conversation, and he was just like, I can't tell you what to do. You know, you've got to pick what's best for you, you know, because, you know, it's your life, and I can't really tell you what's the best way to do it, because of course my life's a very unique situation, just as anyone else. You've got to pick the best thing for you to do. And I remember just leaving there, just happy. I was like, man, I just spoke to Mike, and that was a sick conversation. And I remember just walking away, just happy that I'd had a moment to speak to someone so randomly. Because I knew that famous bodybuilders and fitness influencers would be there, but I didn't think I would run into them like that. And then later on, I spoke to Ulysses, and I was telling him that I was going to compete, and he was like, oh, good luck in the competition, you know, you've got this, and you know, just shaking hands with him and just having that conversation, taking a picture, that was crazy. Like, that was big to me. You know, because they were my big inspirations when I started bodybuilding 2014, 2015. And then to meet them 4 years later, when I'm doing what some of them did to kind of get their foot into bodybuilding, and I'm like, that's perfect.
Yeah.
You know, it was perfect. And then I met Brandon Carter as well, I think later on. And yeah, it was a big experience. So that year of competing, it was big for me because it wasn't just about competing. It was about, I think, taking the first step, as you said earlier. You know, and just put myself in a position where I'm just seeing all these people. And I saw Simeon Panda as well. Guy is huge in person, man. Oh my God, I was walking past, I was like, wow.
Now you know what it's like to bump into you in the gym.
Nah, that's impossible. That's impossible. I was like, this guy is huge. Yeah, massive. Like, I didn't get to speak to him. He had like a huge queue.
Right.
And I was like, I've got to compete, so I couldn't really wait. But yeah, it was a very eye-opening experience. Just getting to meet and see my idols just like that. You know, that was a good experience in general, man.
Yeah, is that part of what inspired you to be better? You know, is it?
Yeah, 100%. Because, you know, there are people that I've watched with, well, yeah, since 2014, 2015. So I've watched them start, you know, and then, you know, do their first brand, and then, you know, develop their brand, then rebrand, make a new brand, and just develop in so many ways, you know, much more than fitness, you know, business wise.
Right. Yeah.
And you know, it's very inspirational just seeing people that come from the same place, you know. So it's like how me and you went to like Black and CDI. And for those that don't know, that's like the community centre. I think we just did like activities and games.
Yeah, it's just like, so Black was Blackbird Leeds Adventure Playground, and then CDI is Community Development Initiative. So I think the main objective of just those places there were just, I know it sounds cliche, but it's like getting young people off the street and getting them to network with each other, and just be in the same space and chill.
Because I mean, it's like, imagine 10 years from now, you know, we've all taken our craft to the next level.
Yeah.
You know, then we can kind of look back and think, you know, we were in the same room as kids.
Yeah.
You know, we were meeting the same people in the same communities. We were going to that same chip shop.
Yeah. You know that one.
With the spicy strips, right?
Yeah,
remember?
Branos.
Oh my God.
A little bit of me.
Flavors.
Hey,
you know,
every day, if you forgot your £3 at home,
you were finished.
Upset.
You were finished, man. So
you have to watch everyone else eat.
Yeah, that was painful. That was painful. So, you know, growing up in the same place, you know, when we get to that point, we can look back and be like, you know, we've always been in the same room. We really are from the same place, and we've elevated way past that, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's a blessing as well, man.
Yeah, because it is. Because I think it's one of the things, like I was saying earlier as well, that we were able to build our own community.
Yeah.
And obviously we had the head start of literally being born into the same community, but outside of that, we were able to network amongst ourselves. Yeah. And so when we are on that next level, it's like, yeah, man, at each stage of our lives, we were able to have some form of connection, you know, some form of bond that we were able to kind of grow individually, but then as part of a collective of people that came from the same spot.
Yeah.
But as we get into more into the pursuit of tomorrow, there's the Howard Thurman quote: "Don't ask what the world needs, ask them if you come alive and go do it." Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. So kind of taking that into consideration, and obviously everything we've spoken about thus far, what is it that makes you come alive?
I think it's bodybuilding. That's one thing. That's generally something that I have a huge passion for. You know, I remember just being 14 and I played loads of video games back then.
Right.
You know, a bit too much. No, I remember just looking in the mirror one day and I was like, I wasn't necessarily out of shape, and I was kind of in shape because I was playing basketball back then anyway. So like I wasn't incredibly out of shape, and I wasn't in incredible shape. And I just looked and I was like, I'm not really happy with not just the way that I look, but my mentality and what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
I feel like I can do more.
Yeah.
And so bodybuilding was one of those things that after I finished a gym session, I was like, I felt like I've done something productive today. I feel better. So I think that kind of leads into why staying consistent is so easy for me, because I wasn't, although I say, yeah, I wanted like Terry Crews or Snoop Panda or Ulysses, it wasn't like the main goal. I was like, I want to feel like I'm being productive. I want to be productive. I want to be better.
Yeah.
And that's very easy, because it's not like, you know, people say, oh, I want to get somebody. Like, I just want to look good for someone. It's like, okay, say you do that, then someone passes, then what? You get fat. Like, what do you do from there?
People do that, innit? It's one of the ones where it's like, you know, you get your summer body, and then there's all the jokes about New Year's resolution hitting the gym. It's like, but
you should have been hitting it from time. You should have been in the gym, man. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's why I find it so easy to be consistent. And it's such a habit, like, it's just so, it's like just a part, it's just like a part of my life, man. Yeah, I don't really see myself stopping, unless like I'm injured to the point where I can't get to the gym.
Right,
You know, but like if I can limp to the gym, I limp to the gym.
I hear you.
Like if there's a part of me that's more injured, I'll be in the gym.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, that's what it is, man. Yeah, I've got one more prop.
Yeah, man, come bring it through. Yeah.
So Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
This one.
Yeah, think of that. So I think that book for me was an eye opener to so many things. My mindset towards success. You know, it talks about taking actual steps. It's like saying, no, it doesn't really matter what the goal is, just take actual steps towards it and stop focusing on, I want to be at the end. Focus on what can I do now to progress me further, you know, to get me close to that. And you know, one gem that I actually found in this book, and I was actually speaking to Steve about it earlier, Steve Basanti, about the guy in the book. I think his last name is Carnegie, I can't remember his first, and he owned a steel milling company. And he was in court about something related to the company, and they were asking all these academic questions, and he couldn't answer them, and they were saying, oh, well, you're ignorant if you can't answer this question. And then he was saying he's not ignorant because he has people that can answer them. He owns a company, he doesn't know every single aspect of how the process is done in every single department of the company, but he knows people that does it. So he doesn't have to know everything as long as he can get the information from somewhere. So they kept like attacking, you know, his intelligence, his credibility, because he wasn't academic, but he knew how to get academic people to work for him. You know, he knew how to get the information. And I found that so powerful because I kind of have this mindset of, no matter what room I walk into, there's always a superior man, in some sense. There's a man that knows more about cameras, more about editing, more about cars or engines, or there's someone that knows something that I don't in any room, you know, and it's just finding what that is. Because, you know, for everyone, there's always something that will light the rise up. You know, you just ask them a question. Say you have a friend that's interested in Formula One and you don't care about it. You ask one probing question about Formula One, they're going to speak. They're just going to keep speaking and they're going to keep going. You're just going to, and you will learn so much. And it may not necessarily be knowledge you will need, but you ask that question that you know, sparks their interest. And then you open up to like a world of knowledge. And that's for any person on this planet, because everyone knows something you don't know. So, yeah, I think in terms of just, you know, being a blank slate and learn from people, be aware of the fact that everyone's better than you, in some sense.
It's like, you almost like, be prepared not to be the best in the room. But always work towards being the best in the room.
Work towards it, but know everyone's better than you in some sense. I think that's important.
So then, when you're on your journey to understanding that and being that person, you know, whether it be in bodybuilding or like building your mind, you know, like what does your day, your month, your week look like?
Well, in terms of bodybuilding, I think it does depend on what's really going on in life, but I think there's some periods where I just focus on maybe more bodybuilding style, which is more reps than strength training, and I focus more on conditioning, and I focus more on just already exhausting the muscle and little things that I can do to tweak my training. So, for example, the occlusion training I started doing, I think maybe it's 3 months ago at this point, because I wanted to just improve my vascularity, you know, and just do a little tweak to make my training a bit harder. And there's sometimes where, you know, you just throw in some supersets or drop sets. And so in terms of training, I think it does depend. Sometimes I'm just coasting through training. Sometimes I'm trying to get stronger. Like it does depend. I think now for me is to lose fat and just coast there until I go into my competition prep.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so in terms of that, and then I've got uni and work, and man, I'm doing the worst hours at work, man. tell me how I finish work at 4 a.m.
Oh, stop.
What's my life? 4 a.m.
Mm-mm.
I was there 2 p.m. till 4 a.m.
Nah, that's prime sleep time.
I was broken, man.
No,
I was so mad.
Like, I respect the grind. Yeah, man, I was up at 4 a.m. still finishing up with the job.
Yeah.
Nah, see that.
Yeah.
It's at that point there where respectfully I check out.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So where are you working at?
Oh, can I say that? I want to say it just because.
Oh yeah, you can say after. That's fine.
Yeah, but
yeah,
man.
it was.
Crazy hours, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
the thing is, it's all a means to an end kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Obviously, you know, I was saying we were talking earlier about how, you know, you're as big as you are and as forward thinking as you are, but you'll still look at yourself as halfway. You know, you'll still walk into a room with the presumption that you're not the best in the room.
Yeah.
But you know, there's a version of yourself in the future that, you know, that isn't halfway. That's all the way. There's a version of yourself that potentially is the best in the room. So other people watching their YouTube.
Bro, I don't know. That doesn't sound right.
Hey, man. Because you're seeing yourself in the present. But you know, there's gonna come a day where it's like, you know, there's other young people watching your YouTube videos, figuring out how you do your thing on IG, and you're gonna now be the blueprint. You're gonna be the template for other people to come forward.
Yeah.
But, you know, to that version of you, I actually wonder what they have to say to you. So in terms of, you know, words of encouragement, advice, anything, that version of yourself that isn't halfway, that's all the way there. That's up there. That's the next level. You know, what does older Aaron Sadler have to say to this one right here?
Have you got a beard yet?
Stop it, man. Let the beard go, man.
Sorry. I'll get serious.
I got to throw me off for.
You were so intense as well. I'm so sorry. I think just keep working, man. Yeah, just keep working on everything and just work harder. I think there's always room to work harder and you know, mitigate things that are a waste of time or spend less time doing certain things. I think really it's just about working harder and prioritizing what's important and save. You know, it's so important to invest. To invest into something that appreciates.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking about this recently, like how as a kid I would look at a car and all I would see was the logo. I'd be like, okay, that's a Toyota, that's a BMW. And then when I got a bit older, so when I watched Top Gear, they'd be like, okay, that's a BMW with a V8 engine, and that one's got, you know, whatever engine it has. And like say like first and foremost, it was external. I just looked at the brand. Then it was internal. I looked at the actual, what engine does it have? You know, what's the interior look like? And then I think third is like sort of like an absolute knowledge or say awareness of something. And then I don't just look at the logo and then the engine. I look at, okay, so what's the interior made of? Why are these seats more expensive? You know, stuff like the radio, and then what have they done to this car that makes it more expensive than say a Toyota? Like what's the difference between a Lamborghini and then a Nissan or something? You know, like what have they done that's made the price value so drastic? And then looking at applying that same thing to say properties. Like you may look at a house and say, oh, well, this is a nice house. Like, I could live here. And then that's the external valuation. Internal could be, oh, they just had the kitchen redone. That's nice. That kind of adds value to the house. And then when you kind of look at every single aspect and say that's the third thing, you say, oh, okay, so when was the roof built?
Right, yeah.
What year was the house actually built, and what specifications have been done to this house that the majority of houses that were built in that year have? Will I have to refurbish it? Do they have termites? Like, is there a tree in the back garden? Because you know we're both from the island, so if there's a tree in the back garden, you know that tree could end up in the living room at some point.
Yeah.
It was like a tornado or something. So understanding way further than that. So understanding everything internal, external, and then just every single aspect.
Yeah,
you know,
holistic knowledge or something.
Yeah. So I think applying that to everything and getting there as fast as possible, getting to that point where you understand those things as fast as possible is so important. You know, so walking into this room, I didn't know what that was called. So you can't see it, but there's some light reflector thing. I don't know. Like that, I had no idea what it was called. He's got this monitor. I didn't know what it was called, and there's different tripods. I didn't know that you had different tripods for different things. I didn't know that was, that exists. So yeah, and like even that's kind of just broadened my knowledge on your setup. And I think in life there will be a million things you'll learn, and your knowledge will just expand on those things, slowly. So I don't know where I got to that answer from.
No.
But like the understanding things is just so important for progression.
Yeah.
And the same thing with bodybuilding as well. It used to be, when I started, just be like, okay, eat chicken, or like just eat protein. That's where you start. Then it's like, okay, so now your protein and your carbs are important. And if you have low carbs, maybe you need to have more fats. And then like now it's probably at a point where I'm like, okay, I don't feel great today. Why is that? What was my water intake like yesterday? Did I have low carbs and not really have any fats? And I kind of break it down so much more. And if say I have a bad session, I was like, okay, so maybe I need something to improve my blood flow. Maybe I need pomegranate. Maybe I need some dark chocolate. Maybe I need spinach. I have spinach like almost every day for that reason, just to feel better in general. And yeah, I think just getting to a point where you understand a topic fully, or at least understand that there's things that you don't know yet. It's so important to kind of master it, and progress with it.
No, I like that because I think I'll tell you how that ties into the question. There's something about asking someone what their future version would have to say to themselves that unlocks hindsight before the experience. Usually you look back at something and that's what lets you know that. So when you were speaking about your experience in Birmingham, now you know what mistakes not to make. But it's like, what if you could have placed yourself in Birmingham prior to that? And a lot of people see that as preparation or organisation, but it's not. It's something different. Like I said, it's putting the hindsight first. It's wondering how far you can push a thought into the future. So when you chat about investment, you actually went into investment by how many different definitions. You even if by example it's about investing your time, investing in property, investing in your body, investing in your mentality, and like that's the connective tissue of everything you're saying now. I think that's a very powerful thing to end on, because again, it's the epitome of the pursuit of tomorrow. Because one thing I say in this intro is that how can we actively pursue tomorrow as opposed to passively receiving it? And that can be hard on certain days. It's hard to be consistent. Like you said, you limp to the gym. A lot of people, man, they'll twist their ankle so they don't have to go to the gym. Do you know what I mean? Like,
there was zombies in Call of Duty, man.
Man.
By any means necessary.
And I think,
the
thing is, even then, the means are different for different people. So, like I said, for me, going to the gym is about fitness. It's about, staying trim. And I know that over time my body will get to a certain place, but bodybuilding isn't my goal, right? But I'll respect your size in the same way that you come up in the space and respect myself. Do you know what I mean? Like it's about seeing that progression in other people, like we said earlier, in their fields, that I think builds. It just builds that sense of encouragement in yourself, you know, because like we said again about community, you can see people perfecting their crafts, and it kind of adds a little fire in your belly about your own craft. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, like I say, you know, I'm never looking to be a bodybuilder. That's not my goal. That's not my goal. That's not my craft. But I respect it and I see it, and I see the work you put in. You know, even with someone like Basani, who does a lot of, you know, like him, I do a lot of similar. You know, we both like photography, we both like filmmaking, but we take it in very different directions. You know, we've got different ins and we've got different outs. You know, it's like for me, it was always about, you know, acting and filmmaking. It's like I like acting, I like writing, I like directing. It's like, what am I going to use to shoot the movie? It's like, cool, let me grab a camera, let me get a setup. And that was my end, whereas with Steve, it's like, okay, I said, he said he's not a photographer, he said that's part of the means to an end, you know, for his brand, for his business. I'm thinking, oh, I respect that.
Yeah.
And there's so much we can learn from each other. But then in the same way, you being a bodybuilder and me being, man, let's call it, you know, a content creator myself. There's something that you can learn from me. Just 100%. It's a constant flow, you know, and that's what actually builds that discipline. You know, it's like, it is the fact that the potential is there and the possibilities are close.
Yeah, that's nice.
But yeah, man. As I said, I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate that, man.
Hey, man, of course. You know you're going to be back on the show.
Of course, man. Look, pursue it tomorrow. Maybe like 2 years, 5 years.
Hey, man.
You know, whenever, you know, there's some progression's been made.
Yeah, man.
Way back for sure.
For us. So, it's one of the ones where I want to track this growth. Because, like I said, you know, with the potential and possibilities around every corner, I just want to keep up with them.
Yeah, of course.
But for now, man, is there anything you like to sign off to the camera with?
Yeah, guys, thank you for watching. When I come back, my beard will like his.
Almost on the beard, man. Gosh, man.
No, I'm serious.
Hey, man, I've been having too much love on the beard. I appreciate it for real. I worked hard on this thing, man.
I'm walking through like, oh.
Yeah, man, bring a pair of two like that.
Oh, bless man. Yeah, thank you for having me, bro. I appreciate that, man.
Nah, it's real, man. It's been proper. But yeah, without anything else to say myself, I do want to thank you as well for tuning into this episode of Pursue It Tomorrow. And of course, we'll be back next week with another guest. And yeah, that's me. So I'll catch you then.
Bless.
See you around.